What goals have you set for yourself recently, my love?
Um, well, recently, obviously, I'm still bodybuilding. So right now I'm in the building phase. I haven't decided on another show yet, but I will be competing again because I love it. Um, so yeah, working towards that, but creating more content
Hmm.
where I'm talking to the camera because it makes me nervous. So I want to do that because I don't know. I just creating content, it does something for me,
Hmm.
and I feel like a lot of the things I post, like it really helps, especially a lot of my followers who write me back. They're like, it's very helpful. Like the things that I think
Hmm.
are really insightful and it helps them. So I'm like, well, why not talk about my thoughts? Because instead of writing out super long captions. So my goal is to work towards creating my own video content, with your help, of course.
You know I got your back.
I know. And then you challenged me to a competition. So yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, those are my big goals right now. I don't have anything that's like super huge outside of what we're working on together. I don't know if you want to share or not, but yeah, that's pretty much like it. And just being the best me I can be, fully leaning into all that I am and sharing that with the world, being the best wife, best mom, best coach I
Hmm.
can be.
I
That's
love
it.
it.
Like it ain't even like super overly complicated, you
No,
know? Yeah.
but it's meaningful to you.
It's meaningful and it's just doing what I'm already doing now, but taking it up a notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing you think you have ahead of you right now?
Expressing my thoughts on camera.
Okay.
I think that is the most difficult thing because it's something about, I don't know what it is about being on camera, but it really makes me nervous. Um, and something about talking to the camera. I don't know, maybe because it's kind of awkward.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's just you in the camera. So it's kind of awkward, but just sharing my thoughts kind of makes me nervous because we've had a lot of craziness with the internet,
Hmm.
and people making comments and stuff like that. But I really want to at this point I can completely disregard that stuff now. So it's like, okay, now it's time for me to really put my ability to dismiss that stuff to the test.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to be like, oh, well, I'm over that. I don't care about negative comments and all that stuff. But it's like, okay, well, ain't no negative comments coming right now.
Hmm.
So how will you deal with it when they do come?
Yeah.
That's going to expose whether you've grown or not. So, so I need to be making content, that I believe in and that I believe will be insightful for other people, and it may or may not rub people the wrong way, and I got to be completely okay with that because as long as I'm leaning into who I am and who I say I am, that's all that matters.
Right. It's interesting because even God knows, I don't know, a lot of episodes in at this point, and knowing that we've been recording for so long, knowing that these are still challenges, that we got to deal with.
Yes.
And you would think that you would like grow out of certain ways of thinking, certain challenges and different things like that. But you don't really get to pick how long it takes for you to get over certain levels of difficulty.
Facts.
Because some things can happen rather quickly. Some things it could take, we've been doing this over a year now, and it could take way longer. It just depends on the person.
Yeah.
And so just realizing, man, that your process really is your own.
It is.
Even since like this, us getting into it and being way more consistent this year, 27, 28, however many episodes we in now just for this year. And it's like, it's still certain barriers that we're growing through.
Absolutely. And I think it's so funny that it's the being on camera, because if you see me out in a social setting, like I'm a social butterfly outside of these walls. You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting to me. I try to understand why, because I'm like, I can be out in the world and interact with people, no problem. Like I'm not nervous. Like it's whatever. Like other people can be awkward and I can bring them out of their awkwardness.
Yeah.
Because I can make them feel so comfortable in conversations. But I don't know what it is about this camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't, whatever it is about the camera is irrelevant. It's like, what am I going to do moving forward to get myself over it? You know, and that means doing the hard thing, looking at the camera, talking to the camera by myself, and making content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least you know what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think, you know, the problem itself is irrelevant. It's like, okay, well, what you going to do about it? It's a fear. What you going to do about it?
Right. You know what? And it's interesting because even though we've been in this process for this long, realizing like that there's still hurdles that you got to overcome.
Yes.
And even knowing that sometimes it still feels like you could be so far into a journey and it still feels like you're like battling to get through day one or get through that same anxious feeling that you get when you still early in the process. And it's still there.
Yes.
It's like even knowing that you could take fitness, for example. You could been working out for years and still battle with some of the same things when it comes to body dysmorphia or
standing on the scale. Yeah.
All of those things. But like you've been doing this same thing for years.
Yeah.
You got all the knowledge, you got all of the understanding, you got all of that crap. But it's like your humanness just hops up sometime and it still can be this loud voice in the back of your head, just still planting those same seeds of fear, of doubt, self-sabotage, all of these little insecurities, whatever, and it could still just be there. But the courage comes into play when you learn how to be able to do the thing anyway, knowing that it still may be there. Yeah. But you don't stop me anymore. Knowing that you could still show up and like, hey, I'm going to do this thing in spite of. And I think that's like the point to aim to get to. I can be anxious. I can be afraid or whatever the case may be. But at least now I'm at a point to where it doesn't stop me. And I think that's dope because I think you're already there, but you're aiming toward getting into that part of the space to where it's not even that you can do it anyway, to where it doesn't impact you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with doing the things. Like, I'm okay with doing the uncomfortable, hard things like that. That's not it. It's just the feelings that I have associated with recording. That's what I want to, like, overcome. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, babe, you know, I'm here to support you in your goals, so
I know.
We're going to make sure we get through that thing.
Which is why you gave me the challenge. So the competition.
Right.
Yeah.
So since you done brought that up a couple times now, just to break that down for y'all. So because my beautiful queen here she has her own challenges when it comes to the camera. I was like, all right, so what we'll do is I'm going to challenge her to record 10 videos by herself. It don't matter what it is. It just has to be 10 videos that she records, edits, and basically gets ready to publish of her doing her thing, speaking on whatever it is that's meaningful, that's important to her, whatever the case. But it got to be 10 published, polished videos ready to go. And my thinking is, if she does the 10, by the time she gets to that 5th or 6th one, knowing what it takes, I think the nerves are really going to start to wear off. And then the challenge is, it's the first one to get to 10 videos done. And even though I don't have the same resistance in doing this, it's still dope because I get to go through this process with you and kind of hone in more on a skill that I do have, helping you get through something that you have a little bit more of a struggle with. Yeah. But I already know what comes along with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing who you become on the other side of it. And so we're going to do our 10 videos. We're giving ourselves 2 weeks, and at the end of the 2 weeks, whoever gets their 10 videos done first, the following weekend, got to take us out for a real nice dinner. Yeah, real whole date day. Yeah. The whole thing.
Date day.
Right. So that's the challenge. You know, simple, easy, progressive, but it allows us to be able to start moving in a direction that we've decided is important for us. So in saying that, how important is it to you, or how important do you think it is that having meaningful goals and things like that it is in a relationship, or specifically in marriage?
How important is it to have meaningful goals in a relationship?
Meaningful goals, and being able to support each other in them.
I think it's important for both people to know what's important to each other, like individually. Because like we've stated, like things that are important to you might be different than what's important to me. And we need to know how we can show up for each other in whatever those scenarios are. And we should all have something that we feel pulled to doing, like, you know, like your why behind a thing. Like I have my why behind my fitness, why behind content creating. You have your why behind coaching, your why behind content creating. Like we both need to have things individually that's important to us, that's pulling us in a certain direction, and it'll also help with our marriage. Showing up for each other. I think supporting each other has shown me so much about myself too. And it's helped me grow in so many areas too, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I hope I answered that the way I said it in my head. Cause if it didn't make sense, tell me to say it again.
If you got another way you want to say it, baby, go for it.
I think that's really, really what it is. I think it's important to have meaningful things in life in general.
Yeah.
Like whether you're in a relationship or not. Because life is more than about working, paying bills, and that's it, you know? So I think everyone should have something that's meaningful to them. And if you're with someone, they need to know what's important to you.
Yeah.
So they can support you the best way that they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say that though because when you have those big audacious goals and things like that, like it can pull a lot out of you. Like it can be challenging, it can change you, it can put you in positions to where you really have to become completely new people, things like that, especially the more meaningful a goal is.
Right.
And then also realizing too that sometimes when you have those meaningful goals, it can get the whole family involved.
Yeah.
It can cause, a whole reshaping of what your days look like, what's priorities, what values have to be shifted, all of these things or whatever. So being able to not only have those bigger, more meaningful goals, like it's important to have those things for yourself, but I also think it's super important to be able to have those things, in your marriage and stuff like that as well, because it gives you something to aim toward, and it gives you an opportunity to be able to grow in different ways, like you said before, like for yourself and inside of your marriage, that can pull you out of your comfort zone, and it can set you up in a position to where you can become the person you need to for whatever lays ahead of you in life.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, going after those goals and doing those things that are so meaningful, it allows us to be able to not only stretch ourselves, but to show up for somebody in our lives that's important to us. Like you deciding that you want to be able to record videos and things like that. Yeah, we're going to make it a challenge because you and all of what you are, like you like a little challenge. You like being able to be pushed and things like that. So I'm like, all right, bet. I see how this benefits you. I see how it benefits our marriage and all of the things that are important to us. Of course I got your back. All right, I'm in this thing with you. And it might seem like a small thing, to some people, but we understand how big and meaningful that thing is for what we're planning to do later on down the line. Right. It's just a small thing to get us moving in the right direction.
Right.
And so, like, even in the things that I pursue, understanding that those goals, those things that we're pursuing, like, I love the way that you support me through them and the way that you can encourage me to be able to do those things that pull me out of my comfort zone, because I need those things. Like, I need those things that'll change me and make me better for myself and for our family and stuff like that as well. And it's the pursuit of those things that allow us to be a part of each other's change and the challenges, and to be able to show up for one another and to show that support. Like, that deepens the love. It's like showing up for the person while they're going after something that's important to them, that allows you to be able to have the opportunity to say, hey, I got your back.
Right.
Like, I love you. I'm in this thing with you. Like, hey, I believe in this thing just as much as you do. Like, because it means something to you, it means something to me too. And like, that's an opportunity.
I agree.
So I know I went on a tangent there for 2 seconds, but
it's good though. I agree with everything you just said. And like you said, it's also important to have certain goals in your marriage too. Like even if it's just spending a little more time together, deepening the intimacy, being more connected. Not always like focus on the kids, but focus on us because them kids gonna leave. They're gonna be gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you need to like the person that you're left with. So
that you plan to spend your life with.
That you plan to spend your life with. Okay. So yeah, I know like sometimes when we talk about goals and stuff, we talk about like, some big things that we like to work towards, but it's those things too.
Yeah.
Those daily moments together, our walks together, our 30-minute, 45-minute walks together every day. Like that's important. Like that builds intimacy for us. That builds connectedness, intentionality, within our relationship, So that's important too. And people need to set, I'm not gonna say people need to, but it would probably be beneficial for people to set certain goals within the marriage itself. You know,
it would behoove you.
It would behoove. Yeah, because your marriage is important and it should be a priority. Because if it's not, like, why did you get married?
Yeah, that's
fact. So I never want our marriage to be put on the back burner. I never want that. No. Because as long as our marriage is good, as long as we're good, everything else it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and that requires us taking care of each other individually and together.
Yeah, and I think it's also important for our baby girl to see our marriage, see us care about our marriage, us care about each other, and not just be mom and dad. Like, no, we're husband and wife. You know what I'm saying? So she needs to see that.
Yeah, even to your point, like I think it's dope that she gets to see you do things that are for you. And then she gets to see me and be a part of the process of us supporting you in that thing. Or when I'm doing stuff, like that's why I love our freaking family meetings, man. Because we can actually bring up things that we're doing for ourselves and get the family involved in us doing stuff for ourselves. And I think that's so amazing because we get to see that, hey, just because, we operate as a family, we operate as a married couple and things like that too. We also support each other in the things that we want to do individually as well.
Absolutely.
So it's like, hey, you still are your own person. But even in doing that, you also get to see how we operate together because we don't just talk about the things that are for us individually. We also talk about the things that, hey, me and mom are doing this thing and this is what it's going to take and this is where we're dedicating our time. And now you also get to see how we talk about certain things as a team. So she gets to see both of those dynamics. It's like, it's not just mom. It's not just dad. It's not just this one singular way of doing certain things. She gets to see it from all of the sides and be a part of some of the things. So I think that's super dope. And it gets to paint two totally different pictures for her.
Right.
So yeah, man, I didn't even think about that until you brought that up. So I think that is dope.
Yeah.
See, man, and setting goals and doing those things and being intentional, like it rubs off into so many different areas, especially when you allow the people that are in your life to actively be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Come on.
That's good. I think we're doing all right.
You know. And still learning and growing and getting even better at all of it through the process.
Yes. And okay with just adjusting and pivoting when need be. Yeah. I love that verse.
Me too. Who are you becoming in this process, that we're growing into for this next season of life?
Who am I becoming?
Who are you becoming? Who are you aiming to become?
Wow.
Because you don't have all. You talked about the why before. Yeah. You don't do all of those things when it comes to your fitness and content and all of those things that make you uncomfortable. You don't introduce those things into your life for no reason. So beyond just the doing of stuff, who are you looking to become in the process?
I am I think I'm still looking to become the woman of my own dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and every time I reach a particular goal, it's always like, okay, I got here. I have more evidence to build on. Now I can do this other thing. So I don't even know how to explain who I'm becoming. I just want to continue to be the person that does what she says what she means, is confident in who she is, being her full self, regardless of how anyone takes it. And make sure I'm just being who I say I am.
Yeah.
And showing up as her every day in every room, no matter who is there, who ain't there, just me being my full self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it ain't even that deep. It's just like, just being, it's not even who I'm becoming. It's more like solidifying who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And just making sure I'm walking in that daily, constantly. And people see it, you know?
As I think about that, it reminds me of a lot of what we've come from, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
And by what we come from, what I mean is like a lot of the stuff that we've had to battle to get through, you know, from the challenges we faced in our marriages. I mean, in our marriages, in our marriage.
Yeah.
Things that we've gone through, you know, like in our fitness and our health journeys or whatever, mindsets that we've had before in the past, and thinking about how all of those experiences have compounded into who we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And even thinking about, you know, the conversations that we've had before, to where we would have certain realizations about ourselves, and then also have to check ourselves where it's like, hey, you know what? We've always believed this way, but we still got to get better at operating in that way.
Yes.
And so it's like now making sure that not only do our actions line up with our behavior, but being more intentional about our actions becoming our actions in the way that we think and all of those stuff, those beliefs that we have and that we're grooming ourselves to have, that it become like the natural response to where it takes less effort in that being. Like, this is just who I am.
Yes.
And that person that you're just being exactly who you desire that person to be, which is hard.
Yeah.
Like, because even as I think about it, I'm like, I know who I really desire to be, but I know in my heart of hearts, like, I'm not that person all the time. Like, with every thought, with every decision, with every action taken or whatever the case may be, I'd be like, man, Trone, you better than that. You should have done this thing better. So even in you saying what you said about like being your authentic self and really just leaning into being who you believe yourself to be, realizing, man, that ain't no small feat.
It's not.
It's really not.
And then, like, for me, it's like, okay, if I am being this person, all the results that I desire, it's going to happen anyway. I just need to make sure I am who I say I am, which will make sure that I'm doing what I need to do, which will produce the things that I want to have in life. Like, it's just be, do, have. Like, I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah.
I'm going to be it, which means I'm going to do it. So that means I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
As long as I keep being who I need to be. But that needs to be the core.
Yeah.
Being who I say I am.
Yeah.
And being proud of that.
And I think it can be really downplayed, like the effort it takes to like become all of who you say you want to become. And then, like I said, being just intentional about who that person is.
Yeah.
And that process, like, it ain't no small feat.
Right.
But I think it's something super dope to aim for. And I know, man, that's something that we've both talked about for forever. Like, actually becoming somebody that we can be proud of individually in our marriage.
Yes.
And in the eyes of the people that we want to serve. Like, not because we need them to see us in a certain type of way, but to know that we're proud of who we are when we're showing up to serve the people that we're called to serve, and all of those things, man. But I definitely don't downplay how much of a challenge that actually is, and to operate in that consistently on a regular basis, because it's not a small undertaking to go after. So But I think that you have that desire to do that. I think it's dope.
Thank you.
I think that's super dope.
I hope what I said actually came out the right way too. Did it actually make sense what I said? I know you know what I said, but that's why I'm like, I gotta make sure like it came out the right way.
And I'm saying that I'm like, man, you know what? I understood it. But then realize, you know, man, you got people that listen and that watch whatever. And I'm like, I'm thinking that you said it pretty well enough, you know, for the listeners to understand.
I feel like I did too.
Yeah.
I feel like I really thought about it before it came out. So I hope so.
Yeah.
Comment if it didn't come out right. If you need a better explanation.
But yeah, I think everything that you're doing right now is definitely going to get you there. Mm-hmm. And I know that I look forward to seeing all of who you become. And I think what's so dope in these processes, especially when we decide that we're going on yet another journey to become another version of ourselves, it's like we really get to build who that person is from where we are into becoming that person like together.
Yeah.
So I know that I, as your husband, play a role in who you become next. And you as my wife play a role in who I become next.
Absolutely.
And we get to both like play our part in making sure that both of us get to where we desire to be individually and together.
Absolutely.
So I think that's dope.
It is dope. It is dope. I just want to aggressively be who I say I am, like aggressively, like, I want to put all my passion and all my everything into just being who I say I am.
I feel that, baby.
Yeah. So.
I look forward to seeing all of it too. Yeah, because I know every version of you I've had the opportunity of seeing you grow into has been dope. So it would be crazy to believe and think anything less at this point. And you know, you always got my full 110%, you know, when it comes to supporting you through the process, you know. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing what that version of you looks like.
You know, it's so funny. We talked about this on our walk. Maybe, I feel like it was a couple of weeks ago, where I told you that at one point I was afraid that you wouldn't love the version of me that I became. Like, I don't know what version that was. Like, I'm on like 50th version at this point.
Right.
But like, I was afraid that you wouldn't love that version of me because she was so different. Me now, I'm sorry. Me now, I'm so far different than when we first met, than 5 years ago. And that was a fear of mine. So that's why I feel like it was super important for us to talk about who I was becoming in the process and how I felt about it and how aggressive I was going after her, especially in the last 2 years. Like, we coming up on my birthday and AKA anniversary of me deciding to change who I was completely. You know, so that was something I was afraid of, but I'm glad that we talked about it and you were totally like, okay, babe, whoever this version of you is, I'm going to love her. Just keep going in the direction that you want to go. And I'm here to support you. And like that for me was like everything, because I was so adamant about ridding myself of the old me. Like, I wanted her dead. Like I didn't want her anymore. And so you being on my side and fully supporting me through that was everything to me, because I'm like, bro, like if he was so in love with this version of me, the one that I low key hated at this point, like how is he going to love this version of me? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does completely.
So it was like, it was definitely like kind of hard to leave that in a sense, knowing that you loved her too. And it sounds like I'm talking about two completely different people, but I actually am, even though it's me, you know?
I think the biggest part of me loving who you used to be and who you've become and who you're becoming, I think the majority of that is wrapped around the fact that one of my greatest desires for you is the fact that I've always wanted you to love you. And I've always wanted you to be able to have a portion or the slightest bit of the opportunity to be able to see yourself the way I see you. And the way I see you is so freaking huge and abundant and bright and beautiful and all of these things. And I'm like, man, how amazing would it be for you to be able to see yourself the way I see you?
Yeah.
And I've always wanted for you to be able to be in love with the woman that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it requires you changing something about yourself in whatever season of life we're in, I want you to be able to love the person that you are. Like, it's one thing for me to love you. Like, I've loved all the versions of you. Mm-hmm. Even when you've had some of your biggest and deepest battles with whatever it was. Like, I've loved all the versions of you. Mm-hmm. But the version of you I love most is the one where you're the most in love with who you are. Mm-hmm. And I want you to be able to have that, because I know that when you're that woman, when you're that person, I'll be getting the best of you. Mm-hmm. And you being able to be the best of you for you, I know I'm going to get the best of you for me. Mm-hmm. And our marriage and everything that we're growing into becoming. Like, I know that version of you is going to pull out the best in me also. Right. So it's a little bit of selfish intent there too, you know, because I get the benefit from that. Mm-hmm. But that's something we've always understood. Like, the more we grow individually, the more we grow together. Yeah. And I want you to fully have the opportunity to be able to love yourself and who you are and who you're becoming at the highest level possible. Yeah. I want you to have that.
I appreciate that.
That means a lot to me that you have that for you. I don't want you to ever have to second guess how freaking amazing you are.
Mm-hmm. I definitely don't second guess it now.
I know. Mm-hmm. And that's where we want to be. Yeah. That's exactly where we want to be. Yeah. I don't want you to have to second guess yourself for nothing. Mm-hmm. So, here we are.
I love you, boy.
I love you.
I love you.
All right, babe. We'll wrap it.
We'll wrap it.
If you guys have enjoyed the episode, man, please do, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think, all of those good things. My name is John Trone, family. This is my beautiful queen,
Adoria.
We are one dope couple. And until next time, family, peace and love.